30-minute ZVZ in like the first month that StarCraft 2 was out. It was crazy. Well, guys, the game is starting. Are you guys ready for game one here?
All right, so here we have it. The map is going to be Shakura's Plateau. Our players are going to be Rain, Slush, and White Raw. There's the suspense screen.
I know, the suspense screen is finishing up. The map is Shakura's Plateau, and up at the top left of it is our Protoss player all the way from the Ukraine in red. Give it up for White Raw.
And the guy asking for no special tactics, please, here in the top right-hand corner is our green Zerg player from Team Rain. That is SLush.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if White Raw knows any other way to play than using those special tactics, so SLush might be in a bit of trouble, and the spawn positions really favor that Warp Prism play, I gotta say, so
and you know,
see what happens.
The reason I'm really looking forward to this match as well is because I spoke to White Raw before the event. He came up to me and he goes, Kevin, PVZ, no problem. And so I was like, okay, all right. So I guess he's going to knock down every Zerg he plays. Looks like he's throwing down the pylon at the front. We'll see a Forge Fast expand here in a bit.
Yeah, White Raw is really one of the most confident pro gamers I've ever met. And I think his room is like right next to mine, and I found out that he has like what's the Western called? It's like High Plains Drifter ringtone, where it's like wah wah wah, and then I hear someone start talking Russian really loud, and I'm like.
It's because everyone thinks we're cowboys if you're not from this country.
Oh, I guess. Well, it's a cool ringtone either way, but yeah.
So here we have it. I'm curious what SLush is going to save up for here, if he's going to try and go pool first to prevent any sort of shenanigans, or cheer from the crowd.
Oh, yeah. All right.
White Raw's probe running around doing a little bit of mineral denying there.
Mm-hmm. And SLush, as we can see here, has decided to go ahead and get his pool first. No gas, so just wants to go for a little bit more of an economical opening in his ZVP. If you skip the gas, you can get a couple more drones out, get that hatchery up a little bit sooner. So,
you know, White Raw leading with Gateway as well at the front of the ramp, not actually going to go after, a Forge, so no shenanigans at all.
Yeah, going for the Gateway first instead of the Forge. That actually is really interesting. I mean, you can wall off this ramp fairly easily, but you do see most Protoss players go for that Forge expand on this map, and it's going to be a Gateway right into a Nexus too for White Raw. The minerals are climbing. They're almost at 400, and there is a Nexus.
There we have it. All right, so White Raw going to retreat back into his base for a second. SLush establishing his economy quite well and already bringing up that first queen and a couple of lings. It looks like he's going to save up for a second queen first, though, before he moves into gas. So, like you were mentioning, for a very, very economic build.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially where he sees that there's no Forge out, too. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily need the Zergling speed right away. I can kind of sit on no gas for a little bit longer, make some drones. It's interesting, though, because most Zerg players still choose not to do that. A lot of them do get the gas by now. Oh, and there's a gas right now. So that's about on time, not too much later than usual. So never mind. Everything's normal. Carry on.
And second Gateway is down. We'll see a Cybernetics core here at a front, most likely at the, well, I was going to say the front of the wall, but he could throw us for a loop as he already has a pylon down to place some structures inside of his base. Interesting to note, he is only putting up one gas at the moment, so I don't think we're going to have a huge amount of tech coming.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We are definitely going to see some special tactics. This 2-gate opening. Afterwards, no Cyber Core yet, just producing enough Zealots to stay safe against those Lings.
This isn't like the Kiwi-style build where you just Chrono Boost as many Zealots as possible to attack with the expansion behind it, but that Chrono Boost just being used on workers at the moment. Second gas being thrown into the mix, and back on SLush's side of things. Just about enough gas saved up for Zergling speed, but all quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, both players kind of gearing up, getting their openings, going very little aggression right now. Oh, but a Roach Warren coming up for SLush right now. He may just try to break the front of White Raw. This can be kind of a defensive move too, but you know, where he sees there's no cannons and sees that there's just a couple Zealots that his Stalkers are going to be coming out a little bit later, he might try to take advantage of that and just try some sort of little early Roach push too. We'll have to see. The first Stalker for White Raw is already on the way though, so.
It's very possible. It could be very powerful as a matter of fact. Like you were mentioning, no cannon cover behind those buildings up at the front, so the Roaches can squeeze their way all the way up and make sure they take out those Zealots as quickly as possible. But SLush is going to have to worry about, you know, pretty quick timing out of White Raw because he already has his gateway infrastructure in place. He's going to add a lot more here in a bit. His economy is looking pretty darn good. He's still on equal workers as his opponent at the moment.
Look out, Probe. The Zealots are going to save it, though. Oh, maybe not. Careful probe.
Looks like SLush was trying to take that down come hell or high water, but
yeah, well, it's good to get rid of those probes out on the map. You never know when they're going to be putting down pylons, putting down tech buildings, and he still wants to get it. It's going to be very difficult, though, with those zealots there. Oh, he's going for it. Nope, the probe did get away. Congratulations, probe.
We have Robo and another gateway being added to the mix. So 3-gate Robo, no real surprise at the moment. And this is almost reminiscent of a game that would have been played a few months ago. A little bit different build orders to get there. But Roach Warrior coming down. We're going to be moving into Roach Ling in the early to mid game for our Zerg player. He's taking his third base on the right hand side right now. Certainly has the resources for it. And there we have it. Macro game in store for us.
Yeah, awesome. That is exactly what I like to see. I don't like games that last under 10 minutes. It's just not as much fun, you know?
And yeah, so White Rod has actually gone up to, let's see here, it's going to end up being 5-gate Robo with single forge at the moment. We'll see if he moves right into Robo Bay technology, or he sits back and just tries to make and pump out. Warp Prism!
Warp Prism.
Of course, it is White Rod we're watching.
Here we go. It is indeed special tactics time. I was wondering if the Warp Prism was going to come out before or after the Observer. It's before this time.
I tell you what, though, I wish I could make one particular unit and have an entire audience applaud at me, though. So.
I know, that is just how awesome White Rot is. But SLush has a pretty strong army moving across the map here. He's got the supply advantage. White Rod doesn't have a lot of units at his base as well, so SLush is hitting a timing here that could actually do quite well. I mean, White Rod's really going to have nice force fields to hold this off if SLush decides to push it here.
Yeah, and it looks like he is. Those roaches are making their way up to the front. One is going to test the waters and didn't see anything and decided, wait a second, let's take another look. We probably will see these roaches push up in a second.
It's that -1 vision up ramps right now. You have to go a little bit farther. Oh, nice force fields trapping some of those roaches there. And SLush is just going to need to pull back for just a second here. But, yeah, those force fields were just in the perfect spot. You can clap for that. Those are good force fields, yeah.
Robo Bay just finished up there, and we're about to have enough gas saved up for a, it looks like it's just going to be primarily Zealot plus Colossus for the time being. Oh, there's a big drop going on here over with the Warp Prism on the right-hand side. The Zealots are making their way in, doing quite a bit of damage. Take a look at the workers. Killed just 3 at the moment for White Rod, but he has forced those drones off the line for a good period of time.
Yeah, well, SLush was able to pull those drones right away. Didn't take a whole lot of damage here, and he knows that White Rod is doing the Warp Prism action now as well, so he can stay a little bit more defensive. That'll take the pressure off White Rod as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him power a little bit farther off of 2 bases though before he decides to take a third, but I don't know, he's got a pretty decent army now, might move out pretty soon here too. That Warp Prism though is heading down to the 3rd base. He wants to do some more damage with it.
SLush is pretty well prepared for that, but White Rod's going to make his way over to the cliff around the sign, so may decide to warp in a bunch of units first. Yes, indeed he is, setting up a few Zealots being dropped down. We'll see the other one making its way out of the Warp Prism here in a second. Or, oh, he's going to try and load on the low ground, but there's already a Spine Crawl and a bunch of Lings ready for this.
Yeah, that Spine Crawl is going to go down pretty quick, though. I mean, buildings go down to Zealots fast, but the Zerglings and the Queen are going to say something about that as well. White Rod losing 2 Zealots before picking up the other 2 and running away.
Yeah, certainly. And what is he doing back in his home base? Well,
he's moving out.
Our first Colossus just about to join the army as well with Thermal Lance on the way.
Yeah. Well, now this is going to be where White Rod can really start putting some pressure on his opponent. If he can push the front and make SLush have to worry about War Prism drops as well, that's when things get a little bit tricky for you as a Zerg player. But SLush right now, he's equal on supply. He's looking like he's in a pretty good spot to handle this. I mean, both of these guys still very even. Nobody really has too much of an advantage quite yet, although SLush is getting there with that 3rd base under production now.
Yeah, but White Rod just threw on his 3rd base into the mix as well.
Oh, yeah.
White Rod is also warping in another few Zealots. It looks like he wants to bait some forces out with his push in the middle and then drop behind that to cause a little bit of economic damage, which could work, but SLush is actually a pretty patient player, and he should know that Warp Prism is still hanging around. Probably won't bite on that too hard.
Yeah, I mean, SLush has just been responding to everything brilliantly this game as well. You can see that the Spire is almost finished for him as well up in the production queue. So he is going to be more than prepared for White Rod. I think he should be able to get, well, I don't know, White Rod's moving in right now, so he may not actually get those Corruptors out quite in time. But it's going to be pretty close. Yeah, White Rod, you know, the army just looks a little bit too small right now to engage. And I think he knows that he's kind of like thinking about it. He's moving between the Zelnaga Tower and where that pocket base is. But will he commit? That's the question.
Oh, wait, we have 2 interesting developments. So the drop is coming back in for White Rod. He's warping in a lot of forces. Actually going to be a ton of Zealots. At the same time that the attack is coming through the front, the Force Fields did a good job of funneling the roaches through. They weren't the best, but they're doing a pretty good job. And it looks like White Rod's going to smash with that force, as well as denying economy, continuing with this drop.
Wow, White Raw, look at all those Zealots in the third. That is like a Zealot house party there, and it is at SLush's house. There's not going to be a lot left when they're done, man.
I hate Zealot house parties. They always wreck my day. SLush trying to put up another base down in the bottom left-hand corner, but that's not really going to prove all that useful when he has this giant army just rampaging over his expansions on the right-hand side.
White Raw's supply just absolutely exploded there. Look at that, 147 to 82. There's some mutas coming in right now to try to do some damage to White Raw. Quite a few mutas, actually. 16 on the field right now. They're going to be able to deny anything to happen at that third base. And at the meantime, though, White Raw is pushing into the natural. There is not a lot that SLush can do about it.
Yep, SLush just going full on with that Muta counterattack, and he has legitimately killed quite a few probes.
Yeah,
and has done some damage, but there's just no way to attack this army that's in the over at the natural. There's just no way. I mean, White Raw's going to be able to steamroll over any forces that come out.
Now the thing is, though, is that White Raw, I don't think he has enough stalkers to handle these Mutalisks. Though he's going to be very, very careful about warping them in. You can see that he's not even bothering to warp in any stalkers at his base to try to defend this, because he knows he's going to need all of them in one group if he's going to have any hope of taking out this huge, dangerous Mutalisk ball of SLush.
Yeah, but he can actually suffer a ton of losses at the moment because he's done just exponentially more to his opponent. That he can take as much as SLush can actually give out. And SLush is actually about ready to lose his main as well. Most of the tech is just outright killed.
Oh, there goes the lair.
Yep, White Raw only has one base left in the bottom left-hand corner to kill.
Yep, uh-oh, these mutas are going to come in, kill the War Prism, and then they're going to kill the Colossus and everything else that White Raw still has at the base of SLush. The Zealots down at the natural are going to be very uncomfortable soon.
Yeah, certainly, and it looks like White Raw's actually, has he picked up on the base? No, he kind of suspects something is down there, though. Must have seen some drones transferring or something along those lines. Oh, it turns away at the last second.
You know, there's only 2 drones at that base, so he's not getting a lot of mining out of it. Oh, there we go, a Zealot, a Stalker, and a Colossi sees it, but the mutas are in the main. White Raw's trying to take them on with the Stalkers, but they just can't engage very well right now. SLush, though, being very careful with this mutas, does not want to lose any more than he absolutely needs to at the moment. It's the only thing keeping him in the game right now.
It really is, because that last mining base is about to go down. And SLush GG, so White Raw takes game number 1.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough. White Raw, you know, what really won White Raw that game was his ability to be so patient with those stalkers, to wait until he had enough, not just knee-jerk reactionary, warping a couple of them at his main. He knew he would need every single stalker. Special tactics in action, man.
It was interesting that Bill was really strong too, because even though SLush didn't necessarily bite on the distraction all that much, he was still able to make those Zealot warpins down to the bottom right-hand corner work.
Yeah.
Very persistent with them after losing them basically the first 2 times he tried them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious to see what SLush is going to pick for his second map here. You know, he's got a lot of good ones to choose from. I don't know, what do you think? What do you think sounds like a good choice in ZVP?
I don't know, especially with SLush's play at the moment.
Yeah.
Bigger map, perhaps?
You know, I've just got this like crazy idea of Antigua Shipyard. I know everyone's saying it's not a good map for Zerg right now, but there's some pretty good strategies that involve taking a fast gold on that map. So I don't know, I'm probably wrong, but I've just got this like feeling right now. I don't know why. We're gonna have to find out. Oh, I am wrong. It is Metalopolis. Let's take a moment though to thank one of our sponsors. Let's thank Visine. Did you know that with their stuff you can energize your eyes, man?
Energize them?
Energize your eyes.
Make them better, perhaps.
You know, and I wear contact lenses too, so sometimes eyes could use a little bit of energizing. It's true.
No, I really do. I actually have dry eyes quite consistently, and I really this is one of those products that I genuinely do use. So awesome. I appreciate them getting involved in esports as well. It's always nice to see lifestyle sponsors coming in and supporting something like this as well. So thank you very much to Visine. And we also want to give a big shout out to our platinum sponsor, Samsung.
Yeah.
Samsung actually giving away monitors during this event as well.
I know. That's awesome, dude.
And Samsung's tag, inspire the world, create the future.
That sounds good. That's exactly what we're doing right now, actually. That's exactly what you guys are helping us do right now by coming down here, supporting esports. Give yourselves a round of applause, too, right now. Yeah.
And it looks like our game is ready to go. Our players are in.
Let's do it.
And the countdown has begun.
Countdown's begun. It's going to be on Metalopolis. White Raw versus Rain SLush Game 2. You guys ready?